All right, I get it. You're sick and tired of hearing mortgage business coaches like me and so many others tell you, you got to call on real estate agents. Realtors is where it's at. And I'm not going to lie. Throughout my entire career, even decades before I started in this industry, and even when I look ahead into the 2030s, I still see real estate agents as being a staple in terms of a phenomenal referral source for mortgage brokers and loan originators. I just do. But I also am not going to hate on you if you're like, D.O., I don't want to go there. I don't want to do that. Please, for the love of God, give me at least 5, if not 10, different avenues that I can take to generate leads. And that's what today's training is going to be. I'm going to give you those 10 additional avenues where you can look to generate leads. But please always understand, it is your job to get a lead. Period. End of story. You are a professional networker. You are a professional marketeer. You are a professional lead generator, unless you happen to work in an environment where your company provides you leads. But for many of us, that's not the reason why we got in the industry, and it's not what we signed up to do. So here goes. If you do not want to call on real estate agents, network with real estate agents, create a referral client type relationship with realtors. You don't have to, but you still have to figure out where are you going to generate your 30, 40, or 50 leads a month that you need in order to close your 6, 8, or even 10 loans per month. So let's start. My second favorite lead source, if it was not coming from a real estate agent, it's going to be a financial advisor. Financial advisors are phenomenal lead sources. They typically are great referrers, and their clients are well qualified. Now, unlike realtors, I don't know many top producing loan officers who have 6 or 12 or even 20 financial advisors that they're partnered with. Typically, they have 2, maximum of 3, but a really good financial advisor as a referral partner could easily be 4 to 6 transactions per year. So if you have 3 of them, you can see where easily you could have 15 transactions funded per year just by having those 3 relationships. Now, a second one that people love to talk about are home builders. And I do love home builders as a referral source, but I'll tell you, I don't find home builders to be as scalable as I do realtors or even financial advisors. Meaning, I have plenty of friends who crush it, and 90% or 50% of their business comes from home builders. However, if I were to study 100 top producing loan officers, I would tell you that only 10 get consistent business from home builders, meaning the other 90 do not get consistent business from home builders. But home builders do make a really good referral source. You just have to understand the difference between marketing to and calling on a production builder versus a custom home builder. Now, the third type of referral source that you could look at if you weren't trying to work with real estate agents, if it were me, I'm going right to my circle of influence. That's right. Before I touch divorce attorneys, estate attorneys, or CPAs, I'm going to look at my circle of influence. Those men and women that I know and that already know me. What am I doing to engage with them? Am I hosting semi-annual events that maybe I call client appreciation events, but I invite my circle of influence to be a part of it as well? Am I connected with all of them on social, and am I engaging in their content plus posting my own content so they're reminded weekly what I do for a living? Do I treat my circle of influence the same way I treat my past clients? Meaning, am I offering annual mortgage reviews regardless if I did their home loan or not? Do they receive some form of a monthly newsletter from me? And are they getting some form of a quarterly video market update? If the answer is yes, then you can turn your circle of influence into 1 or 2 closings per month, which means you never have to market to or call on real estate agents. So again, financial advisors would be 1, home builders would be 2, my circle of influence would be number 3. Now, for those of us that are fortunate enough to have been in the business for at least 3+ years, you do have past clients. And when marketed to appropriately, your past clients would make phenomenal referral sources. So past clients with the right marketing strategy would be my 4th favorite referral source if I was going to eliminate realtors altogether. Now, my 5th favorite referral source, I am going to look at some of those other types of business professionals, things like divorce attorneys, CPAs, and estate attorneys. Coming in number 6, that could easily be number 5, by the way. So you could flip-flop 5 or 6. Let me look at my various non-industry related networking groups, whether it's Chamber of Commerce or BNI. I could easily lean hard into some kind of a referral group that meets weekly or monthly, where I was the king or queen of being the most present, the most engaged, one of the top referrers, so that in exchange, I could make sure I was one of the top at getting referred. And if I was a part of something like Business Networking International, aka BNI, or I was very involved in my Chamber of Commerce or even my Rotary, and I worked those relationships really well, there's a good chance that BNI could be one closing per month. Rotary could be one closing per quarter, and Chamber of Commerce could be one closing every other month. Where at that standpoint, I could easily be generating almost 20 closings per year just off of one BNI group, one Chamber of Commerce, and one Rotary. Now, there's 3 or 4 other ways that we can still generate leads. One of them is through my social media content, but I gotta warn you, I know a lot of people that are big time influencers that have massive followings that create great content, and they will tell you, just like I will tell you, that typically when I'm creating content, it's not so that I can turn a stranger into a closed client. My content is geared towards accentuating what I'm already doing. My content is more for the people who already know me, so I can continue to show up in their lives a lot more consistently. But if I wanted to go all in on content, I could do it. Just understand that A, my content has to be good. B, I gotta be consistent. It's a long game. And C, I have to have a sales funnel built out, because a lot of these leads that you would generate by creating content, they are low conversion and they're also high incubation. What do I mean by that? A lot of times it takes 9 to 13 months to incubate that lead before they're ready to buy. And the leads are low conversion. I know that I could probably convert 1 out of every 5 or 6 realtor referrals into a closing. I may be only converting 1 out of every 20 leads that I generate through my content into a closing. Now, if I don't want to generate leads to the content, I can always purchase leads. So purchasing leads is a way that people are very successful in this industry. But it's one of those things, A, it takes money to make money. B, it's another long game. We've done podcast episodes where I discuss, and maybe even training videos like this where I discuss that there's one thing to look at your cost per lead. Then there's another thing to look at your cost to acquire a new client. Then you also look at what is the value of a client long term. A lot of times your cost to acquire a client may be a 1-for-1, meaning for every $1,000 you spend, it's $1,000 that you make. It nets itself out to 0, but you added a past client to your database. So the next loan you do for them is a loan in which you make money. So just be careful when you're buying leads. It's A, low quality conversion. B, it's going to cost you money. C, it's going to have a runway. And D, you are going to need to have some kind of a process in place to where you can effectively market, drip, text, email, call again, email once more, text once more, and call for the 5th time in order to get that person on the phone, at which point it's a bit of a commodity sale, not a relationship sale. Now you have to convert them to use you for your service. Coming in number 8, if you don't want to purchase leads, there's nothing preventing you from generating your own leads. Again, it's going to take some money to make money, and you probably should hire a marketing agency if you don't have your own experience in this. But why can't you build a website and run ads to where people click your ad, they give you their information, and then you call, schedule a meeting with them, and then figure out how you can best serve their needs. Coming in number 9 is that if you didn't want to run ads per se, why not look at generating leads by hosting home buying workshops, whether you do it in person or whether you're doing it virtually. Now, it is going to take a strategy. It's going to take some marketing, some advertising. You got to get the word out. You got to fill the room, or you have to fill the Zoom. But what a great way to generate leads on your own without ever having to market to or call on or partner with real estate agents. And then number 10, community events. Don't forget about your community events. It could be the Bark and Brew event. It could be Oktoberfest. It could be Food Truck Friday. But you know what works in your market. You know what festivals and art shows people typically host and have. There is still something to be said. It's very old school, but you could set up your own booth. You could have a giveaway. You could collect names. You could have people sign up. You could add them to your database. You could send them your newsletter. You could call each and every single one of them to thank them for stopping by, introduce yourself, and figure out which of them could use a refinance or is looking to purchase a home. And because now they're in your database, whatever you send to your database, whether it's something about market trends or whether it's some form of a quarterly newsletter, you now could turn your participation in local community events into a lead source as long as you collect data, add that data to your database, and then market towards it. So you don't have to, if you don't want to, look towards real estate agents and realtors as your end-all be-all. But what you do have to do is have a marketing plan and you have to deploy it. And my suggestion to all of you is don't try to do all 10 things at once. Pick 3 and make those 3 emulate who you are as a sales professional. Call that your sales DNA and do them every day, every week, every month, every quarter. Create them into habit, become great at them, and make sure whatever you're doing is generating at least 30, 40, or even 50 leads per month.